ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Dr. Christine Obondi, the Secretary, Probation and Aftercare Service. Probation and Aftercare Service is a critical player in the criminal justice system. We are domiciled within the State Department for Correctional Service, and our critical purpose is the management of offenders serving non-custodial sentences within the community. To do this, we conduct social inquiries to provide information and advisories to the court and penal institutions that informs the administration of justice. Along with this, we assess the offenders and classify them to determine the level of risk upon which we develop tailor-made interventions to address their offending or criminal behavior. In addition, we supervise them, we rehabilitate them, we resettle them into the community. And in resettling them in the community, there are two distinct factors. There are those who are immediately resettled within their communities because the environment is conducive for their rehabilitation and they have the psychosocial support from their families and next of kin. Then there are those whom home conditions may not be conducive for immediate release but are not high-risk offenders. These ones we commit to our probation institutions, which are a home away from home for a period of not more than 1 year for the purposes of ensuring that we prepare the environment for his release or her release, and meanwhile work on the offending behavior. In our everyday practice as probation officers, as practitioners, we therefore work in a complex and dynamic environment. For the probation officer, every day is a balance between striving to make the offender a law-abiding citizen and upholding public safety. It's about balancing between the offender and what pushed him to crime, what we call criminogenic factors, and the victim of his offense, which is very, very critical for us. We do not submit a report that does not contain the impact of the offense on the victim. So that balance has to be there. We are continuously, every day, balancing between the offender and the offense type, which may range from simple theft to robbery with violence to murder. So all this exerts a lot of pressure in the work environment for the probation officer. So our work environment is characterized by burnout and traumatic experiences. We, therefore, have put in place measures to address this. But first and foremost, I want to recognize and appreciate the role our Principal Secretary has made in championing the Correctional Service Week, because it is critical. The first step in addressing burnout and trauma is awareness. Awareness within the probation officer himself or herself, or the correctional officer, because this cuts across prison and probation officers, and a community awareness that our work is complex and the community must be able to participate in the process of the rehabilitation and resettlement of offenders, because ultimately these offenders are our relatives, they are our parents, they are our children, they are our neighbors, and we must learn to coexist even as we address the offending behavior. The community is very critical. Secondly, we as a department have what we call the first respondents. And who are the first respondents in matters of mental wellness? Our first respondents are drawn within us as a practice, as probation officers, and they're those officers who have academic background and practice in clinical psychology, counseling psychology, and other health-related fields. They've been identified, they're a team, they are working. They are first respondents because they champion the cause of supporting our colleagues, particularly in traumatic events. If you may recall, recently we had an event in Makadara where we as a department, as probation officer, were caught in the mayhem that took place in court. The first respondents were there to support their colleagues through the laid out standard of procedures in handling trauma. We also were the first respondents when our colleagues in Embu faced a similar event. But nonetheless, in accepting the diverse academic backgrounds, we have put in strategies to support all officers. One such strategy is peer supervision. That in addition to the first respondents, we have peer supervision across the country. These are conducted through case conferences where all officers in every probation station are encouraged to have a case conference where they discuss high-risk cases or challenging cases before and after they are submitted to court. We also have case conferences. Case conferences are structures where we as practitioners engage our partners in the criminal justice system on a quarterly basis or as often as may need be in whichever jurisdiction to address challenging and emerging criminal trends. One such trend that I wish to draw to your attention is the massacre at Shakahola. It took the Department of Probation to bring a breakthrough in trying to understand the criminal minds that pushed our citizens to be engaged in those mass events. It took the probation officer to walk through the minds of the key perpetrators to understand the thinking and the attitude that pushed them to bring along others to engage in such extremism. So such is the life of a probation officer. And it is our sincere hope that working together with the community, engaging with the laid out standard procedures in practice, and going forward, the awareness that mental wellness is not domiciled perhaps to a particular people, that it casts across all disciplines, that we will emerge victorious in the event that any one of us should face a challenge, or we would face a challenge as a department, and will arise above the situation, that we are going to regulate ourselves and eventually come up with resilient ways of sustaining both and balance both between our academic prowess, practice on what works, and being prepared to address emerging challenges in this complex arena of offender management. Ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, we strive to make the probation and aftercare service not only a team of a high-quality workforce, practitioners in the criminal justice system, but a center of excellence in Kenya, Africa, and beyond.